Forza Horizon 5 is actually a bleach dystopia in which humanity must flee the cars. Sure, cars are cool, but cars have fundamentally altered our cities and civilizations in a way that we still haven't recovered from. Really wanted to quote that because it resonates with my thoughts on this game. That's one way to start a review, I guess. The other way is to tell you that you need an off-road vehicle to win most races in Forza Horizon 5. Very tempting would be to spend millions on expensive, fast, exotic hypercars, which I kinda did as much as possible, and that was a mistake. For the main campaign, the actual game races and the missions, your best bet is to use an SUV or just straight up, no joke, something very capable off-road. Forza 5's campaign features in its integrity on almost 90% of all races and circuits off-road parts. Many races will have you 100% off-road, while the rest will give you partial off-road. Those forests, jungles, deserts areas, apparently Mexico has a lot of them, and you will need a car to handle the swamps, the mud, the dusty rocky terrain, hard terrain, or just straight up while you're destroying trees and bushes. My go-to for this, and what won me the majority of races, and I put a lot of hours into, Rally Fighter 2014. As much as I wanted the Ferrari Portofino all the time, I ended up needing a muscle car, which I kind of hate. So instead, I did play quite a lot with the Range Rover Velar. With the right tires in the right conditions, it really gets the job done. Yeah. Hashtag peasant royalty. PvP wise and other custom events, races, battle royales, whatever. Fear not, your very expensive exotic cars will do the job with the right tires. To my unhappy surprise, Forza 5 doesn't have many of the cars that I like. Even though they said that it features 504 vehicles, I mean, I don't know where all those cars are, I haven't seen them. For sure, as usual in true Forza nature, with the passing of the seasons we will get updates, and with those updates more cars will be added. From this perspective, if you purchase right now Forza 4 on Steam, which by the way has overwhelmingly positive reviews, you will get from the start a bigger variety of cars. And yes, some of them are on my top favorite list, which are not present in Forza 5. Hashtag unfortunate. I mean, looking and speaking about the variety, even the Mercedes, which is on the cover and probably the main sponsor of the game, it doesn't have a lot of cars, and some of them are missing. Many Mercedes cars are missing. Same story goes for BMW. I mean, why? Why would I only get the BMW X5 from 2011 edition? 2011. Alfa Romeos, which are one of my favorite, are just non-existent. The 8C Competizione Alfa Romeo was my darling, and it's not here. And what about Teslas? Where are my Teslas? I mean, they're just like 4 cars, 5 cars electric in the entire game. And since at least 2017, a lot of very expensive hyper electric cars have been released, including the very amazing Pininfarina. None of these vehicles are present in the game. Sure, I mean, I can understand that not everyone can be happy, and there's like millions of different type of vehicles. It just felt like Forza 3 and Forza 4 offered a lot more cars that I particularly liked. Just allow me to give you context to what you are actually purchasing here. You are spending the majority of the time looking at the back of your car. That's the camera that I use, and I think that a lot of people choose that camera as well. If the car is good looking from the front, matters not, because you're constantly looking at its back. If that's the case, you will want to spend 50 hours of gameplay looking at the back of the cars that you love. If the cars that you like are not on this list, All the amazing things that I'm about to say and all of the great stuff that this game has to offer pales in comparison, to the point where you need to think hard if this is worth buying. Especially at full price. Right now, you're not gonna get any discounts. Playground games are, in this very second, one of the best game makers on the planet. Their coding skills is beyond. I have nothing but admiration for these people. My wish is that maybe one day Playground Games would make a shooter or maybe an action RPG, employing the same quality and almost perfect performance that this game has. Because let me tell you, Forza 5, it's probably one of the best optimized AAA games that I've played in almost 20 years. I mean, for me, that speaks volumes. No joke, dear gamers, the performance here is amazing. No spectacular frames. You're not gonna get very high frames. For me, at 2K, everything set to max. I got an average of 75 frames, while in 4K, and that's the resolution where the graphics really shines, I got an average of 39 frames, almost 40. But there's a magic here that happens where the coders and makers from Playground Games truly shine. The average 39 frames I mentioned seemed to me like 100. For comparison, when I played Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I was able to pull 90 frames, 100, depends. It didn't really feel that smooth. Here at 39 frames, it's very, very smooth and it's fast. It keeps up with the action and what's happening on the screen, considering this is a racing game and things tend to move fast. I have no idea how they did it. It's just incredibly smooth, no shatter, no lagginess. It's amazingly optimized. I got to play, and I am playing this for hours on a 4K TV. Guys, it just works. In any other video game, 49 frames hurts my eyes. It becomes a bit blurry and laggy and it's too slow. Forza 5 is completely something else. Enough about performance, time to talk about the eye candy, the visuals, the moments where you need to stop and take a picture. This game has quite a lot of those moments. Second this year, the most I've used photo mode to Resident Evil Village. Visuals have been improved recently versus Forza Horizon 4 with the inclusion of higher fidelity car models and world geometry, all made possible with photogrammetry. The new global illumination system provides better lighting in most situations. I saw problems here and there, especially when I was standing still with my car trying to take a picture. You won't probably notice it because most of the times you'll be racing. The high resolution skies, from what I understood, they use 12K resolutions on the sky captured on location in Mexico are back, just how they implemented it in Forza 4, providing wide variety conditions to drive in. And speaking of weather and driving conditions, I'm about to make a statement. Forza 5 has the best weather conditions in any game ever created on planet Earth since they started making video games. I have never seen a better implementation of rain and storm ever. Just take a look at this. No, I know it doesn't really do it justice. Perhaps the recording is not at high resolution. You really have to play the game to experience it. The direction of the wind, the way it changes the direction of the rain, the sound of the storm. Oh my God, the sound, especially if you have headphones on. The nature responding to the storm, anything from the trees to the leaves that are blown. These people have actually gone to Mexico stood there with their cameras and microphones and waited for the storm to start. Recorded the whole storm and literally added it in Forza 5. I don't have footage, or maybe I do, I have to search for it. I've recorded hours on end, but let me tell you, they added the best fog. They implemented the best fog in any video game. There's a huge particle density here, and when the light shines through that fog, dude, I mean, it feels real. You're looking at a fog from a movie. It's not a video game fog. It's an actual real fog. I am blown away, as you can tell by the graphics, honestly. Hashtag impressed. Sound-wise, trees, rocks provide realistic echoes, but the most important aspect, Forza 5, among all the other Forzas, has the most distinguished engine sounds. I loved Forza 3. Sometimes, in fact a lot of times, I couldn't hear the difference between the engines. All cars at some point sounded mostly the same. I said it like a couple of minutes ago, 90% of the time in this game, probably even more, you will be staring at the back of your car and of course listening to the sound of that car's engine. Picture 50 hours of listening to an engine. In Forza 5, the sound is not so repetitive and you can actually hear differences between each car. Probably not each car, even though it's not perfect, it goes a long way from what Forza 4 had to offer. And speaking about sound, if I could just brag here for a second, this is probably one of my massive achievements in game. One of them, the 2.5 million credits Lotus. This car has one single gear, one gear. It's the most expensive car I was able to afford so far. And it sounds like this. I wish I could talk about PvP more, co-op, even though I have no other friends to play this with. Battle Royale, I focus mainly on the single player. I feel like the multiplayer deserves a second video, one of its own. But if I could just summon it up in one sentence, multiplayer in Forza 5 is better in all aspects than whatever Forza 4 had to offer. That's the short version, there you have it. Something that I didn't like in this almost perfect game, do I have any complaints or do I see any minuses? Well, yes, not a complaint, but yes, Mexico. Forza 3 gave me Australia. Oh, the lush, the breathtaking Australia. Forza 4 gave me some parts of the UK, the evergreen landscape and the architecture, towns, the buildings, where medieval meets modern, and the most use I've ever got out of photo mode. I was snapping pictures left and right non-stop. Forza 5 gives us Mexico. No joke when I tell you I spend 40-50%, half of the time, constantly racing and traveling throughout the desert. Honestly, it has a lot of desert areas. And when you do descend into the cities, the architecture is not that impressive. I think what I'm trying to say is landscape diversity. We need more landscape diversity, and from that point of view, Forza 4 wins because I was doing non-stop photo mode. There was just so much to look at and go gaga, something that Forza 5 lacks quite a lot. My name is Rocashu. This is Forza Horizon 5, one of my favorite games of the year, and I'm just gonna straight up give it 10 out of 10 because the things that are done right here are done amazing. Who knows? Fingers crossed. Maybe next time in Forza 6 in a couple of years, I will get Sweden or Norway. That will be impressive.